Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And earlier this morning, Mike Katz and Peter Oswaldik presented at the Morgan Stanley European Technology Conference, and they gave updates. And me, as passionate as I am about the industry and everything that involves it, I think these are pretty big updates because we've never gotten more insight or details beyond what T-Mobile has presented in the past. In the past, T-Mobile just presented, hey, we're working with 15 companies of the Fortune 50, but they never told us what the deals consisted of or what companies they're actually working with. So Mike Katz, he's in charge of T-Mobile for Business, so he gave some a bit more detail and insight on that. And then we got some numbers as well from Peter Oswaldik. So to start off with Mike Katz, he stated they are working very closely with businesses, which we already knew. And that's what I was referencing in my video that I made this morning, titled, What is Verizon Going to Do? Verizon is getting pressured on all fronts now. Mike Sievert referenced, and he keeps referencing, that they got to the number one share overall in the top 50 with an inferior product. So over the years, and this is backtracking to 2014, 15, and 16, they kept continuously growing with a service product that was inferior to AT&T and Verizon, not only in performance, but also in size. They are a lot smaller still in size, and yet they have grown into the company that they are today. Of course, Sprint and Metro PCS helped boost those numbers, but they have consistently grown over the years and continue growing over the years with an inferior product. Now Mike Sievert is confident that that's changing, and that leads T-Mobile to be more confident to approach these businesses. And that's what Mike Katz was referencing. Everything that they are doing in terms of approaching the big business, small business, is backed by the network. They are really pushing 5G, 5G, 5G. Any product that they send the business is 5G. It's all backed by the 5G network. There's no LTE associated with it. If the business wants to get into business with T-Mobile, it has to be 5G, because T-Mobile knows that's where the capacity lies, and that's where that business will have the best experience. So one of the businesses that, or actual government contract, he says that they're working right now is with the United States Postal Service. None of this is officially announced. He did disclose that, but he's confident they are very, very close on a possible announcement. So we'll see what that's structured around in terms of money. He was referencing modernizations. So there's likely some back-end infrastructure that T-Mobile is upgrading and for the United States Postal Service. So that's good to see. So that's one of the contract. He says they're working with 15 companies in the Fortune 50. So there's more to come in terms of announcements. He also said that they are working with one of the airlines. Looks like they're going to get a partnership there. So as I was discussing this in a thread earlier this morning, a lot of people were asking, well, how are they approaching this with a product that is potentially still inferior? So that's why they have been pushing 5G so heavily and aggressively, because they really are ahead. All of the statistics, the third party, the 200 million pops that they just announced, that means they are ahead. That means they have plenty of capacity, and that capacity leads to a better experience. So these companies are testing it, and they're like, hey, this works the same as what I have with Verizon and AT&T. I don't notice a difference. And then here's where T-Mobile comes in with the knockout punch. Now that the test drive was successful, now the pricing is cheaper. So they're not going to, the value and the price can be offered in a whole package now. So they're like, hey, what are you paying with Verizon? What are you paying with AT&T? Okay, boom, we're going to knock off 20, 30, 40, 50%. Oh, you don't like that? Well, your bill is covered for 3 months. That's how they're really approaching this. And there's a dedicated team of experts that are handling these deals. And there's always a saying in business, any money is better than none. So that's why retention offers exist, because if that business has to, say, give you 30% off more to keep you, then they'll do that because that's better than zero. You never want to go to zero because then you're getting no revenue from that customer. So that's what also T-Mobile is using to close these deals. Hey, what about another 20% off? Okay, boom, boom, done. Close the deal. So that's how T-Mobile is approaching this in that way. And it's a very aggressive way because they now are confident in the network. And they are being backed by all the third-party testing. Even RootMetrics is now saying they have the most available and fastest 5G network. So they're using that to their advantage. That's why I stated in this morning's video, if there is an extended delay on the C-band, a month, 2, or 3, that's the perception is going to keep changing. Yes, Verizon is going to keep deploying C-band. I get that. But the perception, T-Mobile is going to really cut into that perception drastically. And I would not be surprised if that delay and that changing of the perception is going to help T-Mobile grow and close some of those business deals. So that's pretty much what Mike Katz discussed, that they're aggressively working that, and the power of the network is leading them to close those deals. And as I mentioned, again, he referenced none of that is official yet. He kind of just gave some insight. So that's good to see. That's what I've been wanting from T-Mobile in that regard. So Peter Osvaldik discussed 90% of the Sprint base is now on the Sprint traffic is now on the T-Mobile network as of Q3, which I think is important. They are still aggressively trying to speed up the synergies. So they are working that. Again, they are giving an overall view, like a generalization of what's happening, but they're not sitting there telling you, oh, okay, we're already removing Sprint sites completely from sites and decommissioning. They're not. They just stated, okay, 7,000 to 8,000 sites would be decommissioned this year, and it sounds like that's happening. And as I mentioned in that video, it's likely because they don't need those filler sites anymore, those densification sites. They can likely cover another area with a site nearby, so they can go ahead and decommission that site again to speed up the synergies. Now they're going to save money on the OpEx because they no longer have to pay fiber or the leasing of that site. And that's going to ramp up next year. That's going to drastically ramp up at 22. And then by June of 22, when they completely shut the Sprint network off, that's going to just explode, as I mentioned in that video. They're just going to tear sites down left and right, and the Sprint network is done. And then 100% of the traffic is going to be carried all over the T-Mobile network. So that's what he referenced. We already knew most of that info, but he went over that again. And then again, both of them sounded very confident that their strategy and their plan is working. It's going according to plan. No official guidance for next year. That'll come at a later time. I think during the Q4 earnings, we will get guidance. I do see them accelerating the CapEx, but I don't necessarily think that means the CapEx is going to be raised. So if they do say, okay, we're going to spend $14 billion next year, just for an example, that would be a $2 billion increase for that fiscal year. There is a possibility that the 2023 year could be $2 billion less. He didn't say it's going to be increased. Neville just sees an opportunity to accelerate. So that means faster. So that's when Peter was asked, are they seeing any equipment shortages? He's stating right now, no. They are not seeing any equipment shortages, but they will revisit this topic next year if in case there is bigger shortages. So what really is helping T-Mobile in this case is that Verizon is moving from Nokia to Samsung in Nokia markets. So there isn't a huge need for Nokia to fill Verizon with huge supply. So all of that supply can now go to T-Mobile. And T-Mobile is still largely Nokia across the United States. So again, I just wanted to give you guys this update. Sorry if it took a bit longer, but I wanted to get this out there. I do like the updates on the business, that they are starting to get those businesses in-house. He did also say, Mike Katz did also say, just to throw this in at the end, they are jointly bidding on GSA contracts, government contracts with the partner Lumen. So be on the lookout for more of these contracts. As I mentioned in previous videos, Verizon and AT&T are likely still to get the big contracts. the ones that are $800 million worth. But I think in the bidding process, I think T-Mobile is going to start getting some of the smaller ones, and then word of mouth will travel around from those sections to the bigger sections. And then there is a possibility that T-Mobile could snatch one of those bigger ones. So be on the lookout for that. Let me know how you think about this in the comment section down below. Look forward to reading your comments. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload content. Make sure to follow my social media outlets for more updates and interactions. Thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I will see you in the next one. Peace.